time no see. June wrap up is what is going to be happening. Let it go. Let it go. I just can't say the number because I'm so proud of myself. I just can't say it. I read 12 books this month. See this? A winner. You see you? Loser. It looks like I'm about to steal everyone's man. So lock up your man because I'm coming. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't put you through that. So don't worry, I won't do it. The first book I read this month was The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness. And this is the second book in the Chaos Walking trilogy. I gave this book 4 stars. It wasn't as good as the first book, I thought, but it was still a decent book. I am so warm. I feel the heat stroke. First book follows the main character Todd. Dystopian fantasy kind of book. I would like to preface that I can't describe a book for jack shite. So if you're here to learn about books, I mean sure, why not stay, but you know, you won't really learn anything. So next book I read in June was Saga Volume 8, and I gave this book 4 stars. I would really appreciate it if words came to my mouth. It'd be great. But what was I saying? Who was I talking about? What am I doing? This graphic novel series is just really entertaining and just fun, and I appreciate the language, the uncensoredness, because I love that in books. Next book I read was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and I cried. This book was so touching, and it just showed so much of like how hope, oh my god, I'm getting choked up. Hope can do so much for someone, and that if you have hope that things will get better. Shows someone struggling through loss and dealing with it, and it just made me cry, as I said, because it just made me cry. The next book I read was, it wasn't really a book, but like, you know the way authors have this like, oh, this is book number 1, but this is also book 0.5. So I read that book, 0.5, of the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. It's called The New World, and it was basically in the point of view of another character. Her name is Viola. The book I read was Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Dugan. I listened to this on audiobook, and I thought it was a good summer read. It was just grand. Nothing too worthy of above 3 stars. I just threw this author under the bus. I'm sorry, my guy, I'm sorry. I did like the aspect of the whole love interest situation that happened, because it just did a whole 360, and I liked the turnout of the relationship at the end. I just remember that someone in this book cheated on someone else, and there was no repercussions. There was literally no problem with her cheating on someone else, and I remember that pissed me off a big amount. I killed someone, the person's dead. That's what killing means, Sarah. Wow. Just get no repercussions. I don't think this is the same as cheating, but for me it is. It just is. I just can't. No repercussions. No happiness for Sarah. The next 3 books I read were such a great time for me. I had the best time of my entire existence, and it was the Hunger Games trilogy. I reread. Where are they? I reread these 3 books. I had the best time of my life. I'm not gonna lie. I just loved going back to the whole universe, the Hunger Games universe. So I reread the first book, and then I watched the movie. I reread the second book, I watched the movie. It was a great combination of love and just love. It just hold such a special part in my heart, my life. I love the games in general. Like, I love that sort of thing in books. Someone needs to tell me what it is, because I don't know what it is, and I really want more books like it, where there's like a competition. Do you know, it's like, it's in the Hunger Games, it's also in, it's kind of in ACOTAR, the first book, where Farah had to go through trials. Like, what is that? Like, what is that? I want to know, because I love it. I love it so much. It's so great. The next book I read was The Dead Queen's Club by Hannah Capin. I also listened to this book on audiobook. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. It was an interesting concept, because it was like a retelling of Henry VIII and his dead wives, but it's just basically teenage edition, but it just didn't have the impact I wanted it to have. I realized too, when I'm listening to audiobooks, I don't enjoy the book as much honestly, it just happens for every book I listen to. I just don't enjoy it as much. If I physically read it, I would have probably enjoyed it a lot more, but I didn't. The next book I read was The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And holy shite, I have been reading this book for 3 months and it's only 130 pages. 3 months! I really find the subconscious mind, your just mind in general, really interesting, and that's why I read this book that took me 3 months. Still salty over it, still salty. The next book I read was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins. I had a great time reading this book. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, the original trilogy, and I just had such a great time reading this book. I also have an unboxing when I first saw this book on my channel, so you should check that out too, because I was so excited. This book follows the main character Cornelius Coriolanus Snow, the 10th annual Hunger Games, and I just can't. This book I thought it was so good, so interesting, just to see his development, from Snow's development from being, you know, this guy at page 1 to this guy at page whatever the last page was, because it was a big leap. Some brainwashing went into his changing of character. I do have to say that I did feel somewhat of empathy for him at some parts. I didn't hate Snow at all. Then at other parts I was like, this guy's brain is so complex and so interesting, and he's just a hateful person and a psychopath. This book, 5 stars. The final book I read or listened to this month was Enchanté by Gita Trelease, and I give this book 3.5 stars out of 5. Once again, because I listened to an audiobook, I feel like my experience just went downwards. So it's basically before the French Revolution. It's set there. It's about what is this book about? Historical fiction. Follow this main character Camille, who has like powers, and yeah, that's the book. It was 12 hours long, which was a long audiobook actually, I have to say. My legs. Oh, let me just take a break here. Let me have a quick snooze. Thanks. I hope your taste buds are letting you enjoy your food. I hope your water has no lime scale. Peace.